If time was needed for distance, with absence has made the heart grow fonder. The marvel of music, socially engineered on purpose, so there would be no comparison, no thoughts to ponder. The world is riddled with riddles, billions of people trying to figure out life. It's pitiful. Enter our world. This podcast, this journey, the second phase of an analogy. This is a prelude for the story of Season 4. The Doneson Podcast. You better tell somebody.
Donesonians, the freedom of creativity has arrived. Let's take this journey from the US to Brazil, through India onto Europe, from Asia onto the transatlantic and throughout the world. We'll call it the dark side. The Doneson Podcast is in full effect. Watch it, feel it, listen to Shanna Montana, Uncle Rico, Rod, and Rollo. Let's put it where the goats can get
This is how I feel. Only God knows where this is going. We are on the heels of something so important. This podcast has many seasons, but it won't be the last. I'm listening to the Doneson Podcast. I said, I'm listening to the Doneson Podcast. Oh, yeah. It's the Doneson Podcast. Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of who I am. Who does that?
Does what?
The Candyman guy.
The what?
The Candyman.
The
I ain't playing them
can.
games.
You know, with the fake eye.
I know what you said. I
You
ain't
said the
playing them games.
Candyman can.
Yeah, the guy with the fake eye. The singer. You don't know?
Nah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sammy Davis Jr.
Yes.
Y'all so crazy.
The Candyman. Who can make you run by?
The Candyman can.
Who can make you He can only see out of one eye. Hey, I want everybody to know. I have nothing against, and I apologize for anybody who has one eye. Okay?
Is it a marble?
Be like,
know
the
what?
Candyman.
I have no part to this. No part to this.
I'm not taking anybody with a fake eye to the candy store.
You know what?
The Candyman can.
Sir, that'll be $20.
Y'all are
It says two. You get it? It says two.
Terrible.
You got $20 worth of candy, man. You get it? That's how you got the song, Candy Man.
The Candyman can.
I thought it was $2. No, man. You have $20 worth of candy, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That'll be 40.
Boy, I thought it was $4.
No, you did a doo-wop. It's $40. Okay. All right.
I have a cousin, a little cousin that listens to the podcast.
Okay.
And he says, "Hey, Rod, I want you to use one of my jokes again."
Again?
Yeah.
Who your cousin?
His name is Jerry.
We're going to charge him.
Right.
I was like, Jerry, okay, I'll use the second one. All right, y'all ready for this? Jerry, all right. Why did the actor fall through the floorboards?
Why did the actor fall to the floorboard?
Yeah. Because he was going through stages.
Jerry, we can't have this on here no more.
The fuck?
I'm done.
He was going through stages. Okay. Exit stage right.
Right.
Exit stage left. Which way he going out? Because he got to get the hell out of here.
No, don't forget to tune in every Monday for the audio version of the Doneson podcast, and every Wednesday for the YouTube version of the of the visual version
Exit stage
of the
left.
podcast.
Holler at you.
And keep in mind, we do have a Facebook channel that I hope everybody watches and likes to be a part of there. Please comment and we will respond back. Now it's time for the Doneson Riddle Show.
Oh, Lord, here we
It's
go.
the Doneson Riddle Show. You have 60 seconds to solve the riddle, which is an ample amount of time. If you answer wrong, a dummy's getting electrocuted. And here's your host, Rod.
All right, y'all ready for this?
We ready.
Now with these riddles, really got to study each word.
Okay.
This so happens to be 200 words, but no, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. So the riddle says you have 60 seconds to solve this. Montana, Unc. Samuel was out for a walk when it started to rain. He did not have an umbrella and he wasn't wearing a hat. I sound like I'm in 4th grade, but I got to break this down, you know. His clothes were soaked, yet not a single hair on his head got wet. How could this happen? Now, when you repeat it again.
Yeah, one more time.
Okay. Samuel was out for a walk when it started to rain. He did not have an umbrella and he wasn't wearing a hat. His clothes were soaked, yet not a single hair on his head got wet. How could this happen?
Damn. Don't stump me.
His clothes were soaked.
I'm going to give y'all a hint.
His clothes is soaked.
I'm going to give y'all a hint. If you look at a headshot of me and you didn't know me, what would you see?
You want us to answer that?
No, Montana. Think about it. Samuel was out for a walk when it started to rain. So it's pouring down, right? He did not have on an umbrella and he wasn't wearing a hat.
Okay.
So he wasn't wearing anything.
Okay.
All right. His clothes were soaked, yet not a single hair on his head got wet.
He didn't have no hair.
Right, he was bald.
Bald head. Bald head.
Job.
Like me?
Anyway.
Yes, like us, except for Montana. On that note, let's get it.
Yo.
Montana, here they go again. Another later. This is what they wrote. A little ooh yeah, a little oh no, and a lot. You gotta be kidding me. Montana is crazy. Even though I'm feeling sad, it's only one day. I turn into you, it makes my day. I'm watching your YouTube on a Wednesday, listening this letter so funny. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Whoop that.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
Oh,
Whoop that
whoop
trick.
that. You know what?
You ain't know.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
Y'all out of control.
I was at the club and they
Whoop
turned
that
around.
trick, whoop that
I'm like,
trick.
you ain't know.
Whoop that trick.
Somebody up here gotta have some sense. And that somebody is gonna be me. So we gonna get into it. Today's letter. Simmer down, boys. Simmer down. Today's letter is titled Those That Do.
What?
Those that what?
Those that do.
Do what?
That's it. Do.
Do. I'm going to do me then.
All right. So the writer is from Cabell County, West Virginia.
West Virginia.
And they are
He in my
millennial.
state.
Okay. All right.
West Virginia.
But I'm in Virginia. I said he in my state.
Oh, okay.
All right. So let's do
West
it.
Virginia. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
All right.
So the letter reads, my life is miserable. How much TV can I watch? Life is basically the same routine over and over again. Is this how life works? The same Netflix shows, the same gossip and conversations in the city, the same family problems and issues, the same arguments with the same people, the same responses, especially the same outcomes. The only thing I like about life is crossing the line if I see a female with a guy, even if he's ugly. Now I want him to let her know that I'm better than her. Excitement to me, but only for a night. Guys are so stupid. How do you figure I like you out the blue without having a conversation with you? Read the room. If you tell me that there is something that I can have, then I'll get someone to get that I can't have, then I'll have someone to get it for me. Excitement. You know what they say. If you are the smartest person in the room, that's bad. I don't see how this is bad. I feel comfortable being the smartest person in the room, being looked up to. Come to think of it, I want to be everything to everybody. I think it's called a God complex. I'll call it the keep me alive complex. So I was introduced to self-medication of drugs, marijuana, LSD, cocaine, you name it, I've tried it. Of course, I didn't pay for it. I got those that look up to me to get that for me. Amazing, isn't it? Guess what? It's also amazing. One of the reasons that I'm in this predicament is that when you try to do something good with your life, people run away from you. Nobody wants to listen to positivity anymore. Meaning, I purchased a home. I have a new vehicle. My health is good. They run from that. One thing that I learned about people is that they love to hear your problems. It gives them an opportunity to give you advice. And when people give you advice, it's like going to the airport counter and saying, bump me up to first class. When people give you advice, it's like bumping them up one class level. In all honesty, this is how I see it. You think that I'm going to emotionally depend on people? They are going to depend on me. There are just certain things that people won't do, but it will always be those that do.
Montana, what you think about this letter?
Crazy as a mother.
That was wild.
It's more people than not walking around like this.
You think so?
I think so. And I even know Unc said narcissist. I think I have a friend who's a therapist, and she said a lot of times we may call people a narcissist, but they may just be displaying narcissistic traits. Yeah. And this may be another person that's like, that borderline personality disorder we talked about. I don't know enough about it to diagnose it, but I know that something is here because I think anybody that does have like this God complex, this superiority complex that thinks that they are better than everybody. They only want to try people or things just to prove that they can get them while they're on drugs. Right. That says a whole lot. So I think that I don't really know what this person's what their goal was in writing in. Are they trying to, do they want to do something different? Because they started the letter out, by just kind of complaining about how miserable they are, but they didn't really end with a question. So I would say, the thing is, I think when life is good, sometimes it can be a little bit monotonous. It may look a little bit of the same, but that's okay. But I think that, this person, using people to get what she wants, having people get things for her, this God complex, all I can say, it's only one God. And if you think you God, it's going to catch up with you sooner or later.
Wow. What you think about this? This person, like, they might be on drugs.
I already said it.
Oh, that's right.
This person, man, is trying to hold on to something that's really unreal. They're trying to be all in all, the beginning and the end, and they ain't that. That they definitely not. You all right over there?
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. But they're trying to be the beginning and the end, and no one is that.
No.
So except for one. And we ain't it. And they ain't walking around here. So this person, man, they need to, come on, man, wake up. You're trying to be something that you're not. You're trying to portray something that you're not, but you're trying to be all of that.
Yeah.
And come on, you all over the place. And what I want to say to you is come back to reality, understand that you just like the rest of us, trying to figure our way through this
We're
thing.
all ugly.
Trying to figure our way through this thing.
Speak for yourself.
Called life. You know what I'm saying? And quit trying to put yourself on a pedestal, because that's what I'm seeing like you trying to do. Trying to put yourself on a pedestal, man. Yeah, I ain't with that. Holler at you.
Good stuff. Now, this episode is about war on drugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Listen to this, y'all.
He said, quote, "You want to know what this was really about? The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course.
Yeah. Because it was you.
All right, and some more.
Young people are helping us lead the way. Not long ago in Oakland, California, I was asked by a group of children what to do if they were offered drugs.
You know who this is, right?
And I answered, just say no. Soon
Nancy
after that,
Reagan.
those children in Oakland formed a Just Say No club. And now there are over 10,000 such clubs all over the country.
I bet.
Well, their participation and their courage in saying no needs our encouragement. We can help by using every opportunity to force the issue of not using drugs to the point of making others uncomfortable, even if it meaning making ourselves unpopular. Our job is never easy because drug criminals are ingenious. They work every day to plot a new and better way to steal our children's lives, just as they've done by developing this new drug, crack.
So much bullshit.
All right. Do you remember?
So much bullshit. Look, man, look.
Go ahead.
They put a slogan out there. Just say no. But they're inducing you to something that you just can't say no to. It's addicting.
Right.
It's an addiction.
Right.
How you gonna just say no to an addiction?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Like cigarettes. Just say no.
How many people still smoking today who, when that first slogan came out, still smoking?
Got a point. Still smoking.
Come on, man. Look, it's a game. It's a racket.
Yeah.
And they knew it from the beginning, and they know it today.
Mm-hmm.
I can come up with any kind of slogan and put it out there. That don't make it true.
Right.
That don't make you gonna follow it.
Right.
It's a slogan. You're gonna keep doing what you do.
Right.
And that's what people do. They keep doing what they do, man.
Right.
It's this shit's crazy. Anyway, look, man. Look, I'm serious. If you're addicted, you got to really seek some professional help.
Oh, yeah.
To get off of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even then, it may not work.
Yeah.
But they come up with these slogans. And that's what they selling. They're selling slogans.
Yeah.
They ain't selling no treatment programs.
Solutions.
No solutions.
Yeah.
They're selling a slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just said no. Get the fuck. Man, look. Get out of here with that, man.
Right.
Scram.
Hey, do you remember this commercial?
What's that?
Is there anyone out there who still isn't clear about what doing drugs does? Okay, last time.
We all know what it does. What you
This
gonna
is
do?
your brain. This is drugs.
Yeah, the fried egg. This is your brain. This is your brain. Come on,
This
man.
is your brain on drugs.
You might have to look that up.
Any questions?
I remember this.
Oh, you remember that? Yeah, it's a slogan.
This should be a fried egg.
Yeah, a fried egg. This what your brain do on drugs. Come on, man, get the hell out of here. We already know it ain't good for us. It ain't taking us to a productive way of life, of living. We already know that.
Right.
That ain't rocket science.
Right.
But you're going to give me a slogan, you're going to put it out there, just say no. How many people just say no?
You out of your rabbit mind, right?
It don't work that way.
It don't work that way, man. Come on, man.
Now, the illicit drug economy is alive and well. Estimates indicate that Americans spend about $100 billion annually on just 4 drugs. Y'all want to know what the 4 are?
Heroin, cocaine, what else?
Heroin, cocaine,
marijuana,
and one more.
Alcohol.
Methamphetamine. Yep. Those are the big 4. Now, the Mexican cartel are one of the primary beneficiaries of this thriving market. The economics of the drug trade paint a compelling picture. A kilogram of cocaine from Colombia can be purchased for $2,000. Once the cartels move it to Mexico, the same kilo increases in value to $10,000. Right? Once it crosses the United States border, its value jumps to $30,000. When it is broken down into grams and sold on the street, it can net $100,000. That is 4,900% increase.
Okay.
That's incredible.
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Okay, so through prohibition, right? Y'all remember prohibition, right?
Alcohol. Yep.
So why they ain't on the list?
Because it's legal.
Right.
Why is it legal?
I don't know, Montana.
I don't know. Why did they make
Montana,
alcohol
you've been
legal?
guessing all the riddles.
Just understand the game, man.
Right.
Let's see. Why was alcohol made legal?
They made their money off of it already. They were like, okay, on to the new. Next.
And like I told y'all earlier, in an earlier episode, the marijuana and the cocaine used to be legal too in this country.
Right.
They had a federal and state stamp on it.
Right.
And also, so the internet says the main reason why alcohol remains legal in the U.S. is because despite the mounting evidence of harm it can cause, banning it a century ago failed. So basically they tried to ban it and it failed terribly. So they were like, let's just make it legal.
Okay, so look. So listen to that.
Good stuff, Montana.
So now guess what? Now you look at the marijuana and the cocaine and the heroin that he used to sell with federal tax stamps on it, getting government money from it. Why they ain't make that legal too?
Well, I hope they don't.
But look how it's coming around now. The marijuana's starting to creep back in. It's legal now.
Well, I hope they don't legalize cocaine because
Look,
my dating life would be over.
we won't live long enough. But guess what?
Never.
It will eventually. Because it once was. What once was will always come back around, man.
Yeah. Well, let's take a listen. I'm glad you brought that point up. Take a listen to drug violence and crack.
There's a number of different issues at play. I think certainly one thing that's one very obvious difference is that there was a high level of inner city violence associated with the crack epidemic. This was not, by and large, people hooked on crack committing violence. This violence was primarily drug gangs and crews fighting each other over drug turf, corners, streets, housing projects, and a subculture of violence grew out of that. So it wasn't, I want to make clear that the violence that occurred during the crack epidemic was not primarily violence that was committed by drug users. What we are seeing today are probably a greater number of deaths, though, from overdoses, opioid overdoses. Just last year, in 2016, the preliminary federal figures show that about 64,000 deaths from opioid overdoses. That's a tremendous number. That's more than the number of U.S. soldiers killed during the entire
Vietnam War.
Afghan. Yeah. All right, now check this out. One of my favorite people.
Right now in America, we realize we have a problem with addictions, with people being on drugs, and we're holding people accountable. Johnson & Johnson, a pharmaceutical company. Matter of fact, Purdue Pharma just offered $12 billion to settle these opiate cases. We also know that CEOs have been indicted and sentenced for jail. because America wants to do something about its problem with opiates. I'm all for that. I think that we should always do whatever we can to treat the problem. But the problem is that it gets to be called something different when it doesn't look like what you think a drug addict looks like. When it was crack or alcohol, something like that, weed, we can send them to jail. I remember after Trump took office, they had a memorial at the White House, a temporary memorial for the victims of the opiate crisis. Do you know what they billed for people for the weed crisis, which actually never was a crisis, but for the crack crisis?
Tell them.
Jails. Yeah. Now, a majority of the population that are easily lured into drug dealing are those within below the poverty line. People who have no hope of achieving very much because of their circumstances would resort to
no
drug
educational
dealing.
background.
That is correct. Dealing with their knowledge and skills are not required in their what circumstances would resort to drug dealing where knowledge and skills are not required on their resume. They also see it as a way to make something of themselves, to have the resources to fund their own drug habits. Would it not be better when the billions allocated for anti-drug campaigns are used to help improve the lives of these individuals? For the last 40 years, an estimated $1 trillion were funneled into the war on drugs. Taxpayers are paying a bill for a war that is showing no signs of becoming victorious at any time soon. In fact, the flow of drugs into the United States are increasing year after year.
A slogan.
And then let me run this by y'all. Uncle Montana. Do y'all think people should be locked up for selling drugs? Montana.
My family had this conversation recently. There's a lot of different opinions. Yeah. I think it's hard for me to answer. I see both sides of the coin because I see that, sometimes people get more time for selling drugs than they do for killing people. And then I know people, that have been directly affected by being, say, the children of parents who have abused drugs. So they look at the drug dealers as, of course, the bad guys. Like, you sold it to them. Mind you, I mean, they didn't have to buy it, but you did sell it to them. So I think, but my thing is that, I'm a real black and white person in the sense that, if there's a law that is there that says if you do this insert thing, that there's a consequence for it, it's a consequence. But what I'm not a fan of is when I do see people that have a drug charge, they got caught selling, say some weed, I don't know the amount, but then you got somebody who over here, they go in and they commit a school shooting.
Yeah.
And you get more time than they did. That's what I have a problem with. Like, just let the punishment, I feel like, match the crime. If I'm not saying if you are out here like narcos, you run the whole ring,
right,
then you might need to be locked up forever. But if you have got caught, and I don't know much about, say you got caught a dime bag.
Yeah.
I don't think you need 20 years for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that I want the punishment to match the crime, but I do see both sides of the coin because some people feel like, with drugs, like you shouldn't go to jail for it.
Right.
But again, if you're directly affected by drugs in some way, you do want there to be consequences. So it's just like seeing it holistically that way.
Good point there. Do you think people should be locked up for selling drugs?
Man, look, it's hard. Society and the government want to classify the drug. Cocaine is a drug. Crack is made out of what?
Drugs.
No, cocaine.
Oh, leaves. Coca leaves.
So it's the same drug.
Right.
Just it's produced in a different way.
Right.
So they're going to call this part of the cocaine crack.
Yeah.
Because it'll add some more shit to it.
Right.
And this over here is just cocaine.
Yeah.
Then if you get caught with it, if you get caught with the pure cocaine, it's going to be less time. It's a punishment, but it's going to be less time.
Right.
You get caught with the crack, it's going to be more time.
Right.
But it's still cocaine.
Right.
It's just something else was added to it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a game that they playing on all of us, man.
Yeah, a shell game, huh?
And they know it. Yeah, a shell game.
Uh-huh.
Find the coin. Which one is older?
Right.
Look, it's all the same to me.
Right.
If it's addictive and it's taking people out of their natural state of mind and thinking, then it should be all classified the same.
Right.
But they ain't gonna do that. Because the majority of it that's making the laws is doing it themselves.
The pure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. I'm just so fed up with all this madness and stupidity and people buying into it. It's just pathetic. It's just crazy. Yeah. Miss me.
So do you think they should be punished for selling it?
I think all of them should be punished. Equally. On the same level. Then watch what happens.
Right.
They ain't gonna do that.
They ain't gonna do that.
They ain't gonna do that.
Well, thank you for tuning in to the Doneson podcast.
The Doneson, it's a Doneson, but